You've been trying to fix your life by fixing yourself, but the truth is, the you you're trying to fix was never really you to begin with. It's an identity you picked up from survival, from trying to be accepted, from trying to be safe, from trying to not be alone. Somewhere along the way, you learned how to read the room before you spoke. You paid attention to what got praised and what got silence. And every time you adjusted yourself to match that, you built a character, a version of you. Now fast forward, you feel stuck, lost, unfulfilled, even after all the self-help, the journaling, the routines, because deep down something feels off. It's like you're showing up every day, but not as you. And here's the real trap. You start believing that the stuckness means you're broken, when in reality, you're just out of alignment with your truth. Not broken, not failing, just tired of pretending to be a version of yourself that was never truly yours. You didn't choose this identity consciously. It was shaped for you by pain, by culture, by expectation. And until you question who's really behind the mask, you'll keep repeating the same loop. Burnout, frustration, overthinking, wondering why none of it feels right. Let's break that loop. Let's go to the root. Let's talk about who you actually are. Beneath the noise, the roles, and the constant pressure to be enough. Have you ever noticed how exhausting it feels just to be you sometimes? Not physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It's like you're constantly managing a quiet chaos inside, always trying to present a polished, acceptable version to the outside world. You smile when you don't feel it. You say, "I'm fine," when your soul is clearly not, and you edit your words and emotions just to keep the peace. But have you ever paused and asked yourself, whose peace are you actually keeping? The person you think you are, the character you've been performing, isn't something you consciously chose. It's an unconscious reaction, a defense mechanism formed in response to the expectations and pressures around you. You became quieter because your voice wasn't safe. You became independent because relying on others hurt too much. You became the healer, the caretaker, the responsible one, not because you necessarily wanted to, but because that was how you learned to feel valuable. And now you carry this character everywhere, wondering why you feel so emotionally exhausted at the end of the day. It's because maintaining this identity isn't natural. It's a 24-hour performance that never fully ends. Even when you're alone, you're rehearsing conversations in your mind, trying to anticipate people's responses and adjust accordingly. Even when you rest, your body never fully relaxes because your subconscious is still in performance mode, bracing for the next moment it needs to pretend. And here's the hardest part. The longer you perform this identity, the further you drift from your true self. You begin to forget who you were before the world told you who you needed to be. You start doubting your intuition, your gut feelings, your inner truth, because they don't align with the role you've been playing. But beneath this exhaustion is a powerful realization waiting for you. The person you're struggling so hard to maintain, the perfect, likable, healed, always together person, might be the exact reason why peace always feels out of reach. This is your invitation to pause, to step back, and to begin gently peeling back these layers you've been wearing for far too long. Not because you're flawed, but because you're finally ready to find out who's underneath them. No one really talks about what pretending does to you, how much of your life it quietly takes from you. Because pretending isn't just acting, it's an ongoing negotiation with your truth. It's constantly trading your authenticity for acceptance, your rawness for safety, your voice for quiet approval. And each day, little by little, this silent exchange erodes your sense of self. You stop trusting your inner compass because you've learned to follow other people's maps. You don't speak your truth because somewhere along the way, you internalized that your truth was inconvenient, uncomfortable, or unwanted. And here's the most painful part of all. You don't even notice you're pretending anymore because it's become automatic. You hide your exhaustion behind productivity. You mask your confusion with confidence. You bury your loneliness beneath a smile so practiced it almost feels real. But deep down, something in you knows this isn't sustainable. Your body knows. It's why you're always tired, why your shoulders feel tight, why your sleep never feels restful. Your mind knows. It's why you overthink every decision, second guess every conversation, replay every interaction. Your heart knows. It's why relationships feel surface level, why even in a crowd you feel disconnected, why you're always quietly searching for something deeper. Because when you live life through a false identity, you don't just lose authenticity, you lose connection. Connection to people who might actually understand you if you showed your truth. Connection to experiences that genuinely resonate with your soul, rather than just with your carefully crafted persona. The cost of pretending is loneliness. The cost is exhaustion. The cost is always feeling slightly out of sync, like you're living just outside your own life, looking in, but never fully feeling present. And the saddest part is, you keep hoping that if you perform well enough, if you perfect this identity enough, eventually peace or happiness or acceptance will arrive. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Pretending harder won't ever make you feel real. You don't need to become better at being someone else. You need to become brave enough to be who you've always been. Underneath the fear, underneath the mask, underneath the quiet desperation to be understood by people who have never truly seen you. You're tired, not because you're weak. You're tired because you've spent your energy maintaining an illusion that was never meant to last this long. And maybe that's exactly why you're here right now, because something inside you is ready to stop acting, ready to reclaim what you traded away, ready to remember what it feels like to move through the world as you really are, not who you thought you had to become to survive. When you finally give yourself permission to stop pretending, you might expect instant relief. But often, what you first feel is a quiet, unsettling uncertainty. You've worn this mask for so long that at first, it feels vulnerable, even raw, to take it off. It's unfamiliar to walk through your day without performing a role you've perfected over years. But here's the surprising part. In that uncertainty, a deeper shift quietly starts taking place. You slowly begin experiencing your life without filtering every moment through someone else's expectations. You speak without rehearsing every word. You allow yourself to feel without immediately trying to justify or suppress those feelings. And yes, at first it feels uncomfortable, maybe even frightening. But soon, something amazing happens. You start discovering parts of yourself you didn't know existed, interests you buried because they weren't aligned with the identity you created, thoughts you silenced because they were inconvenient, emotions you've pushed away for years, now gently rising to the surface, not to break you, but to finally be seen and released. Suddenly, moments feel different. Friendships deepen because you're no longer spending energy maintaining a character. You're just you. Conversations become meaningful, not because you're saying perfect words, but because you're speaking honestly. Your connections become fewer, but far more real, more fulfilling, more alive. You begin making decisions differently. Choices are no longer measured against what looks best or what other people expect. You ask yourself, maybe for the first time, what actually feels true to me? And you listen for the answer. Your intuition grows stronger. That quiet inner voice you've been ignoring finally feels safe enough to be heard. You stop dismissing your gut feelings as irrational and start trusting them as guiding lights that were always meant to lead you home. And here's the most beautiful shift of all. You become lighter. Not just emotionally, physically. Your breathing softens, your sleep improves, your body releases tension it's been holding onto for years, because now you're no longer carrying the heavy emotional armor required to sustain your false self. This is the moment when you realize something profound. Freedom was never about becoming someone else. Freedom was always about unbecoming, letting go of every layer of conditioning, every mask of performance, every false identity you've ever taken on to please someone else or feel accepted. It's not immediate. It's a process, a gentle unfolding, a quiet homecoming. You don't instantly know exactly who you are, but for the first time, you're willing to meet yourself as you are. And that is exactly how real healing begins. As you start to peel away the layers you've worn for so long, something quietly remarkable happens. You begin reconnecting with parts of yourself you haven't felt since childhood, moments of pure curiosity, quiet joy, and simple, authentic presence. These aren't brand new feelings. They're like old friends returning after being locked away, quietly waiting for you to rediscover them. And the more layers you remove, the clearer you see yourself, perhaps for the very first time. You start noticing little things you forgot you even loved, like the way sunlight looks through the leaves, or how it feels to sit quietly in a park without having to pretend you're busy or distracted. Your days become less about maintaining an image and more about simply experiencing life, openly, honestly, directly. You might notice yourself craving quietness more, not isolation, but intentional silence. You seek stillness because for the first time, it feels comforting, not threatening. You no longer fear silence as a space where anxiety might arise. Instead, you welcome it as the place where truth speaks clearly, the space between breaths, the quiet moment before a decision, the calm at the end of the day. These become your new anchors, your new points of inner peace. Your relationship with others shifts too. Conversations become deeper, more authentic, not because you're saying new things, but because you're speaking without editing yourself. You stop obsessively analyzing reactions or trying to control how you're perceived. You simply allow yourself to exist as you are and let others respond naturally. And those who are meant for you, those who genuinely resonate with your truth, begin finding you more easily, more naturally. Slowly but undeniably, clarity comes back into your life. Decisions no longer overwhelm you because you're not trying to please an audience with each choice. Your intuition no longer feels distant or inaccessible. It feels natural, immediate, real. The mental fog lifts, revealing a path that was always there, but hidden beneath the constant performance. Your energy returns, not from more sleep or more caffeine, but because your mind and spirit aren't exhausted from carrying a false persona. You wake up more refreshed, move through your day with greater ease, and rest without guilt or anxiety. And perhaps most importantly, joy quietly re-enters your life, not the fleeting happiness of temporary validation, but a deeper, lasting sense of fulfillment. It's subtle, not always loud or obvious, but undeniably real. It's the joy of feeling aligned with yourself, your values, your true nature. It's the relief of no longer pretending to be someone else. And finally, allowing yourself to simply be. You begin living from a truth you didn't create, but uncovered. And when you experience this, even briefly, you understand something profound. You were never lost. You were never truly stuck. You were simply hidden beneath layers of who you thought you had to be. And now finally, you're coming back home to yourself, one gentle truth at a time. Here's the simple yet powerful truth at the heart of all this. Coming home to yourself doesn't mean becoming someone new or achieving some perfected state. It means finally releasing all the layers that never belong to you, the expectations, the pressures, the masks. It means reconnecting with who you already were, beneath the confusion, beneath the pretending. You were born authentic, naturally curious, and perfectly whole. Along the way, the world convinced you otherwise, that you had to become someone else to be loved, to be worthy, to be safe. And you believed it, because you were doing what you needed to survive. But that survival identity isn't your destiny. It isn't your truth. It's just a tool you learned in a world that required you to be something other than yourself. Now is your moment, your gentle awakening to stop carrying a story that no longer serves you, to stop apologizing for your existence, your feelings, your truth, to stop chasing a version of yourself that never truly existed. Because freedom isn't something you achieve, it's something you uncover. It's something you remember. And the moment you finally set down this heavy identity you've carried for so long, your life begins to open up. Not instantly, not dramatically, but gently, naturally, beautifully. Little by little, you rediscover a sense of peace you haven't felt in years. You notice you're not just existing, but truly experiencing. You laugh, genuinely. You connect, deeply. You live, authentically. You realize how much strength it took to pretend all those years, and you honor yourself for it. But now, you're using your strength differently, to simply be who you are, without explanation or apology. This is your invitation to stop performing, to let go of the masks, even if it feels vulnerable, to meet yourself truly and fully, perhaps for the very first time. If something in this video touched a truth inside you, if you're ready to stop pretending, if you're ready to return to yourself, then I invite you right now, in this moment, to comment below. I'm ready to stop. No explanations needed, just those simple words as your quiet promise. And if this message resonated, if it found you right when you needed it, subscribe. Join our community as we gently remind each other who we really are. Because at the end of it all, life isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you were long before you ever forgot. Welcome home.